Hello and welcome to another Made with Love tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a moss stitch effect with a crochet hook. For the moss stitch, it's a series of single crochets, or double if you're British, and chain spaces, and then we're going to alternate on each row. So for the first row, go into the third chain, so 1, 2, 3, with a single crochet, or double if you're British, like so. And once you've done that, you're then going to simply chain 1. That's a chain like we did for the foundation chain. And now, instead of working into the next stitch, we're going to skip that one and crochet into this one. So there we go, into this stitch. And we've created a little gap here, which we'll come on to next. And then we're going to chain 1. And then skip this stitch here. And then into the next stitch, like so. And crochet. Then we are going to do another chain, skip a stitch into the next chain, chain here. So you've done your crochet, and then you're going to chain 1, and then skip a stitch, crochet into here, chain 1, crochet into the final stitch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 2, like so, turn, and instead of crocheting in the top of the stitch where you usually would, we are going to crochet into the chain spaces. So single crochet, double if you're British, into that chain space. Then we're going to chain 1. And again, we're not going to crochet into the stitch from below, we're going to go into the gap. So crochet into that gap, then we're going to chain 1, and then again we're going to skip the actual stitch, and we're going to go into the chain space with a crochet. Then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to crochet into the next chain space, which is the big gap, like so. Then we're going to chain 1 again, and then we're going to find the next gap, which is right here, like so. Then we are going to chain 1, and then the final single crochet will go into the chain space that we had when we were turning our work. So we're going to go into, where are we going into? So the final stitch is going to be in the chain space that we created at the beginning, which is right in here, like so. And then we are going to chain 2 up again and repeat. So we are going to go into the chain spaces. So we have a chain space here, crochet, then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go into the next chain space, which is going to be here. And then we're going to chain 1, and then we don't go into the top of the stitch, we go into the chain space, and then we chain 1, and then we don't go into the top of the stitch, we go into this chain space, like this, we chain 1, then again, not into the top of the stitch, but into the big chain space, chain 1, again, not into the top of the stitch, but in the chain space that we created at the start of the round. So then we're going to chain up 2 again, and then keep repeating that all the way across, and you'll get this moss stitch effect. So we're constantly looking, after we've done the setup row at the bottom, we're just constantly single crocheting and chaining 1, and looking for the chain spaces that we're going to crochet into, rather than crocheting into the top of the stitches. Thank you for watching that Made with Love tutorial. If you need any more help with your makes, head over to buytomdaily.com, where there are plenty more tutorials. But for now, keep making with love.